The mechanic worked alone in the dim light of his garage on the outskirts of the dusty settlement. His hands were black with grease and his mind was sharp as ever. Nothing in the galaxy had ever frightened him, not even the rumors of giant alien creatures that roamed the outer sectors. Some called him reckless, others called him a genius. He preferred to be called human. That day, the air was thick with tension. The sensors he had installed on his old rusted ship were picking up signals of a creature approaching fast. The data showed a massive shape moving with unnatural speed, and its energy signature was off the charts. The mechanic wiped his hands on a rag and walked toward the entrance. He felt a thrill run through him because this was not a job for ordinary humans. This was a test, and he loved tests. In the darkness beyond the settlement, the alien spider waited. Its body shimmered with an oily black hue, and its eyes glowed red as it crawled over the jagged rocks. Its legs moved like lightning, and its venom could kill in seconds. The galaxy had sent it to eliminate the mechanic because he had defied the rules of several powerful alien factions for years. They thought he was just a human weak and fragile, unaware of their schemes. The mechanic tightened his tool belt and checked the weapons he had crafted over decades. He knew the spider was not just any creature. It had intelligence, it had speed, and it had the ability to manipulate the environment. He had no room for mistakes. This was survival, and survival was his playground. The first encounter was sudden. The spider lunged from the shadows, crushing rocks under its massive weight. The mechanic dodged with agility that few believed a human could possess. He fired his energy cutter, but the spider was faster. It twisted mid-air and hissed a cloud of acidic mist that sizzled the metal floor around him. He jumped on a nearby beam and kicked off the wall, sending himself toward the creature, landing on its back. He felt the vibration of its muscles as it thrashed. He pulled out a spike that could pierce the toughest of alien armor and drove it deep into the creature. The spider screeched a sound that could shatter eardrums and lashed its legs, trying to throw him off. The mechanic held on and jammed another device into its thorax. It exploded with a blinding light and sent the spider rolling across the ground, leaving a trail of venom behind. The mechanic landed gracefully and wiped his sweat. From his brow he smiled because this was exactly the kind of challenge he lived for, but the battle was far from over. The spider recovered faster than he expected and leapt onto the roof of his garage. Shards of metal and tools flew everywhere as its legs tore through the reinforced panels. He activated his gravity boots and ran across the walls, trying to find a weak point. His mind raced, calculating angles, speed, and force. He had spent his life studying alien biology and engineering. Knew he could win if he used both. Suddenly, he remembered the experimental serum he had been working on. It was a mixture of human ingenuity and alien technology, designed to enhance reflexes, strength, and perception. He injected it into his arm and felt a surge of power flow through him. His senses sharpened. He could see the movements of the spider in slow motion. He could feel the vibrations of the ground under its weight. He could anticipate its attacks before they happened. The spider struck. Again. Its mandibles snapped dangerously close to his face, but he ducked and swung his mechanical whip around its legs, tangling them. He used the momentum to flip over its back again and planted a series of explosive charges along its body. Then, he jumped to the ground and activated them. The explosions were synchronized perfectly, piercing its exoskeleton and leaving the spider writhing in pain. The mechanic was breathing heavily, but he was far from done. He approached the creature calmly. It hissed and tried to spit venom, but his reflective visor shielded him. He extended a device from his wrist. It was a high-frequency disruptor designed to interfere with the neural pathways of alien species. The spider shrieked and fell to the ground paralyzed. He smiled and reached into his bag, pulling out a containment field generator. He activated it and trapped the spider inside a bubble of energy that could hold even the largest of creatures. For a moment, he stood there looking at the captured alien spider. His heart was racing and his mind was alive with possibilities. This was not just a victory, it was proof that no matter how deadly the galaxy sent its monsters, he could handle them. He started dismantling the garage too, set traps and prepare for any other surprises that might come. He knew the galaxy never sent one challenge at a time. Meanwhile, the message was being sent across the stars. Alien factions were reporting their failure. They could not understand how. A mere human mechanic had defeated the weapon they unleashed. It was not supposed to happen. They had underestimated him, and they would pay for it in the future. The mechanic, on the other hand, was already planning his next move. He would not sit, idle waiting for attacks. He would strike first if needed. He had survived wars, riots, and betrayals. He had survived everything the galaxy had thrown at him, and now he was unstoppable. Hours passed and the night fell. He was working under the flickering lights of his garage, modifying weapons, enhancing armor, and studying alien biology. He wanted to understand every weakness and every strength of the creature he had captured. He was fascinated by its intelligence and the way it adapted. He had to make sure no other spider could ever threaten him or his people again. Suddenly the ground trembled, and he looked up. A second spider emerged from the darkness, larger, faster, and more venomous than the first. The mechanic felt a thrill of excitement. He was ready this time. He had learned, he had prepared. He had adapted. The battle for survival was far from over. He leapt toward the creature, using his grappling hooks, swinging between buildings and firing his pulse rifles. His movements were precise, calculated, and deadly. The spider hissed and lunged with its massive legs, but he was already in motion. He planted explosive charges on its legs and activated a miniature EMP that caused it to stagger. He landed on its back once again, pulling out a plasma blade and slicing through its armor. The creature shrieked and tried to throw him off, but the mechanic held on. He had learned its patterns and could anticipate every move. His serum kept him alert and agile. He could feel the pulse of the spider like a rhythm, and he danced along it, striking and retreating with perfect timing. He planted more charges and activated another disruptor. The explosions rocked the settlement, but he remained unharmed. His determination was absolute. He would not let this creature survive. He knew the galaxy was watching. He knew the others would send more creatures and more challenges, but he was ready for all of them. He was a human mechanic, but he was more than that. He was a force that the galaxy could not contain. Hours of battle passed, and finally the spider lay defeated. The mechanic was exhausted but exhilarated. He looked at the remains and felt a sense of accomplishment. He had survived what no human was supposed to survive. He had conquered the unconquerable and lived to tell the tale. He walked back to his garage, dripping with sweat and covered in grime but smiling. The galaxy may have sent monsters, but he was ready for the next challenge. He would continue to tinker, to build, to create. And to fight, he was a human mechanic, and he was bad in ways the galaxy could never predict. The mechanic did not rest for long. He knew the galaxy would escalate its attacks. He studied the remains of the spiders, analyzing their venom. their exoskeletons and their neural patterns. He modified his weapons and enhanced his armor. He designed traps that could hold creatures twice their size. He was preparing not for one attack, but for an endless war days passed, and the settlement began to notice strange signals. Machines flickered, and the air grew tense. The mechanic monitored everything. He could feel the presence of something massive approaching. He activated his drones, sending them out to scout and record energy readings. The readings were off the charts, and they confirmed his worst fear. The galaxy had sent reinforcements. This time it was not one spider, but an army of them. The mechanic smiled. He was not afraid. He had anticipated this. He loaded his weapons, checked his suit, and activated his serum. He felt the power coursing through him. He was ready. The first wave hit like a storm. Giant spiders with venom that glowed neon green and legs that could crush steel descended on the settlement. Their hissing filled the air, and their eyes reflected hatred and intelligence. The mechanic moved like lightning, deploying traps and launching energy pulses. He swung from building to building and landed on the backs of spiders, slicing and jabbing with precision. One of the creatures tried to ambush him from the side, but he anticipated it and fired a tether that immobilized its leg. He used its momentum to swing onto the next creature, planting explosives along its back. The explosions lit up the night sky, turning it into a battlefield of fire and shadows. The mechanic's mind raced, calculating angles, speed, and timing. He moved like a storm, never stopping, never hesitating. The spiders adapted. They began coordinating their attacks using a hive intelligence. The mechanic realized he needed a new strategy. He retreated briefly into his garage, analyzing their patterns, and activating a prototype device he had been building for years. It was a containment cannon capable of projecting a field that could trap multiple creatures at once. He powered it up and aimed at the advancing spiders. The first shot created a wave of energy that encapsulated 3 massive spiders in a field that crackled with light. They struggled and hissed, but could not escape. The mechanic used the moment to attack the remaining creatures with enhanced blades and disruptors. He moved, faster than the eye could follow, landing blows and planting charges. Hours turned into an endless cycle of attack and retreat. The mechanic was exhausted, but driven. He could feel the adrenaline mixing with the serum, pushing his body beyond human limits. He was aware of every vibration in the ground, every movement in the shadows, every whisper of air. He became a predator among predators. Suddenly, a massive shadow fell across the settlement. The mother spider had arrived, larger than any creature he had seen, and its eyes burned with rage. It had killed and controlled the others, using pheromones and hive intelligence. It roared, shaking the ground, and sent a shockwave that knocked the mechanic off his feet. He landed hard, but rolled and sprang, back activating a series of gadgets that immobilized the smaller spiders around it. The mother spider lunged, crushing a building under its weight. The mechanic leapt onto its back, feeling the tremor of its muscles. He planted explosives in precise locations on its joints and thorax. Then he activated a high-frequency disruptor on his wrist. The creature screamed and thrashed, trying to throw him off. He held on and injected a serum into its nervous system. He had engineered it to temporarily paralyze alien species of this scale. The mother spider froze mid-air and fell to the ground, shaking. The mechanic jumped off landing with perfect timing and activated the containment cannon. He aimed and fired, creating a massive energy field that trapped the creature completely. The settlement shook, but the spider could not escape. It was a victory and a warning to the galaxy as the dust settled. The mechanic walked among the remnants of the battle. His armor scorched his skin, but he felt alive. He had faced monsters the galaxy sent to destroy him and had survived. He examined the containment fields, making sure no creature could escape. He smiled, knowing he had outsmarted them all in. The following weeks he studied the captured mother, Spider learning secrets of alien biology that no human had ever known. He enhanced his serum and weaponry. He prepared for more challenges because he knew the galaxy would never stop. He trained his mind and body, reaching limits that were previously impossible for humans. Word of his feats spread across settlements and planets. Some came to seek his help. Others came to challenge him, but he welcomed all. He had become more than a mechanic. He was a force, a human that the galaxy could not predict. He was bad in ways the most advanced civilizations could not understand. One night as he watched the stars, he felt a presence nearby. Drones reported multiple energy signatures approaching fast. He smiled. He had expected them. He activated his suit, serum and weapons, and moved toward the edge of the settlement. The galaxy had sent more spiders, larger, faster, and smarter than ever. He felt the thrill of the hunt and the rush of danger. The first spider lunged from the darkness, but he was ready. He dodged with precision, landing on its back, planting explosives, and activating disruptors. The second tried to flank him, but he anticipated it, swinging from a tether and landing a critical strike. The third attempted an ambush from the air, but he shot a pulse that sent it crashing to the ground. Hours turned into a relentless storm of battle. The mechanic moved like a shadow, striking with deadly efficiency. He used every invention, every serum, and every trick he had learned over the years. He was unstoppable, relentless, and precise. He had become the nightmare the galaxy feared. Finally, as the sun rose, he stood victorious once again, surrounded by defeated creatures and wreckage. He looked at the horizon. His hands were bruised and scarred, but his mind was clear. The galaxy may continue to send monsters, but he would continue to fight, continue to survive, and continue to be a force they could not control. He returned to his garage, cleaning and repairing weapons, modifying armor, and studying alien biology. He smiled, knowing that no matter what the galaxy unleashed, he would face it head-on, with courage, skill, and ingenuity. He was a human mechanic, and he was bad in ways the universe could never contain. The stars shone bright above him, and for the first time in a long time he felt a sense of peace. He had survived the venomous giant spiders, the attacks of the galaxy, and the impossible. He had proven that a human could be more than they seemed, that ingenuity, courage, and determination could overcome any odds. He had survived, and he would continue to survive. The mechanic knew the galaxy would never rest. He would never rest either. He had mastered survival and adapted to the impossible. He was ready for whatever came next, because he was human and he was bad, and nothing in the galaxy could change that.